Here's what I did this week on the farm. So, first things first, I set up a remade tent in my big greenhouse. It's where I plan on, at least for now, keeping the larger seedlings at night. Because the other thing I've been doing this week is hardening off my first round of seedlings. Hardening off is acclimating your plants to what it's like to be outside before you plant them. You typically want to give them 1 to 2 weeks. I'm going to be doing for the first week, bringing them in at night, and then for the second week, only bringing them in at night if it dips to below 45 at night. And because I don't have a heater, like the night temperatures aren't going to be that different inside the big greenhouse. So I'm hoping it's like a double acclimation effect, maybe. At the big middle of this week, it did start the first 7 day period where I saw no lows below 40. So I think this is the good week to start hardening off, I think. The first plants I'm hardening off are my cosmos, which I know are too leggy and I'm already embarrassed about it. No, she keeps losing her shoes. God, girl. Inappropriate workplace behavior. My kales and my collards, my dill and my beets and my borage. I'm hoping things can kind of like perk up once they're planted and are able to be like amended and have more access to nutrients and stuff. Despite this week being the first week where temperatures are over 40 at night, it was also at the beginning of the week. There was a frost warning because it was like 33 was the low, to Sunday it being 80 degrees. And so, yeah, quite a range, quite a jump. And it was like even hailing, and then it looked like snow on top of my mini remade tents, but I think it was just rainwater that had stuck and then frozen over in the night. And then I also did more seeding. So I seeded some snapdragons, sage, lavender, a couple types of zinnias, and a couple types of marigold. And then I seeded about 6 different varieties of lettuces across 3 trays. And the thing with lettuces is they really don't like getting above 65 degrees. So I can't germinate them on my seeding table. So I'm germinating them in a room in my house with a lot of light. They started popping up by the end of the week and their necks are a little craned. But now that they've popped up, I think I can move them into the mini greenhouse and just not put them on the table. And I think they'll be fine. If not, then I'll just harvest them really young before they bolt, use them as a salad green, basically. Oh, I've also been really obsessed with all the turkey vultures for like the last couple months. They fly so close, it seems, and then you take a video and it looks like they're just specks in the distance, and it really does not capture how cool they look. Like, they keep circling me when I'm dealing with the tarp because I think they know that like rodents are released, but also they're vultures, so I don't think they catch. Well, I don't know. They circle me when I lift the tarp. I don't know what that means. I noticed 2 of them going into this tree kind of outside the fence line that I can see really well. So I'm hoping I can get videos of them flying in and taking off.
Oh shit, I missed it. Oh, damn.
They are so cool. They're such cool birds. I love watching them fly. I love them so much. Okay, but the main goal for the week has been bed prep. So I did dig one other bed, but I wanted to focus on seeding out the beds I have dug. I was able to get drip tape. My process for that was, there was this guy on YouTube and he called it the fad steps. So I'm also calling it the fad steps. But you furrow, amend, and drip. So I would like cut a divot through the soil about halfway through, add my amendment, which was feather meal, alfalfa meal, kelp meal, and humic acid. And then I would seed. I added compost on top of one bed and not the other before seeding because I wanted to see what the difference would be and what I would want to do in the future. I think in the future I'm going to seed first and then add a layer of compost after. So I got my first few beds fully seeded. I've also covered them with Remay, A, to kind of help with germinating faster, just to keep the soil warmer. And B, some of the crops are affected by flea beetles and stuff like that, so this is a good deterrent for that. So what I seeded in my beds, 2 different types of arugula. I did red radish, Easter egg radish, and French breakfast radish. Unfortunately, at some point I mixed up a bag, so there's going to be some round reds in the French breakfast or French breakfast in the round reds. So we'll see what pops up when it starts popping up. And then I also seeded red beets, gold beets, and Chioggia beets. And I also seeded a patch of hawk-rye turnips, which are one of my favorites. They're so delicious. I can't wait to be able to share those with people. And then I also did 2 types of spinach and 2 types of baby kale that I'll be harvesting as like a greens bag. I am hand watering them for right now because I don't have a sprinkler system set up, and they need overhead watering until they germinate, and then the drip should be enough to kind of handle them. And yeah, other than that, it's been like seedling maintenance, watering things. Now that it's going to be getting a bit warmer, I have to be a bit more on top of the watering of it all because you don't want things to die. I went to a potluck this Sunday with a bunch of female farmers. It was incredible. I love meeting other people in the same field as me, but also like women in the same field. It's really, really, really nice to be in a room full of women who are awesome and cool to talk to. So that was really awesome. And I made my beet hummus. That is a friend of a friend's recipe. It is always a winner at gatherings. Now, I also have decided I'm going to do a little section where I tell you what I've been watching, listening to, and reading this week because I'm just doing a lot of that and I just like talking about it. So things I've been listening to. I listened to this podcast while digging out one of my beds. I finished it in like 2 days. It was so good. It was called Who Killed Emma? It's an investigative journalist who is looking into the death of a sex worker in Scotland. Like she is involved in why that case is solved. And it was just like a really compassionate look at the lives of sex workers and the people in Emma's life and how she was like a loved person. And I think a lot of true crime doesn't remember that about the victims in their cases. And so I think it was a really good journalism piece. Yeah, and I highly recommend it. And then obviously, of course, I've listened to Drop Dead by Olivia Rodrigo. That girl. What I've been reading this week, I mean, it's not that I read them fully this week, but I was really relying on them a lot this week. It was my Living Soil Handbook by farmer Jesse Frost. He also has a podcast. And I've also been referencing The Market Gardener a lot this week by Jean-Martin Fortier. He is actually the guy who designed the seedling table that I've been using. So those books are really, really, really good if you're just getting started or if you're already started and you're looking for some reference material. I find it like they're both incredible resources. And what I've been watching, I watched the Malcolm in the Middle reboot and I loved it and I cried and I laughed and I laughed and I cried. The daughter, they got to play Malcolm's daughter, is perfect. The relationship between Malcolm and the daughter is perfect. I just can't, and it's only 4 episodes long, and I wanted it to be so much longer. But I highly recommend the first 4, the only 4, if you haven't seen it yet. I also watched the finale of DTF St. Louis this week. That show was so good. And like tragic in a way that like took you by surprise each time because it has this like almost Tim Robinson vibe to it where you're like, this is just like kooky people being kooky. And then there's just this like malaise of like loneliness, and these people are just like doing the best they can with their situation and really fucking up, and it was just really tragic, and I'm gonna cry if I talk about it too much. But I honestly really loved the show, and I haven't really been hearing a lot of people talk about it, but yeah, it was phenomenal. So, and that's what I've been consuming this week. I'll catch you back here next week for week 16.